Hey, it's officially the offseason. Everybody's 0-0, and we've got big goals at Dolphins today. We got to get to 60,000 subscribers, so let's make it happen. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And how about some shout-outs to some recent subscribers, Early Nakasone, Todd Schwartz, and Eddie E. Thanks so much for subscribing to Dolphins Today. You're going to absolutely love it because we bring you daily Dolphins content like what we're talking about today, Dolphins Trade Rumors. Let's do it next on Dolphins Today. Thanks for making Dolphins Today a part of your today. Always happy to have you along for Dolphins Today. My name is Jake Riepma, and let's discuss an interesting tweet and some rumors going around the National Football League that a lot of teams might be in on. Ian Rapoport tweeted this out over the weekend. Eagles All-Pro edge rusher Haason Reddick has received permission to seek a trade following another disruptive season featuring double-digit sacks. Now, assuming Ian Rapoport is referring to his play on the field as disruptive as a pass rusher, not within the locker room. I don't want to read between the lines there, but disruptive on the field. The 29-year-old with 27 sacks over 2 seasons in Philly could land somewhere else, perhaps Miami. But when you look at the body of work of Haason Reddick, he has been the model of consistency. And it's interesting because he has been granted the permission to seek this trade, but it's going to have to be a pretty big haul in return in order for the Eagles to be interested in making this trade happen, because Reddick is entering his final year of a 3-year deal, and he's owed quite a bit of moolah, $15.5 million in 2024 to be exact. And over the course of his last 4 seasons, yes, the back-to-back 11-plus sack seasons jump out to you, but he really has not stopped producing for really the bulk of his career. He's set to turn 30 years old in September, so not the youngest cat, but certainly a lot of gas left in the tank, not getting too long in the tooth, if you will, and a ton of production to be had from that edge rusher position, which was an area of strength for the Miami Dolphins in the past season, but it was also an area that the injury bug decided to completely bite and decimate this position group. We know about Jaelan Phillips, popped the Achilles on Black Friday against the Jets, Bradley Chubb, torn ACL, and even Andrew Van Ginkel got hurt in Week 18 and was not able to play in that playoff game against the Kansas City Chiefs. So those are 3 really good edge rushers already. When healthy, you feel really good about the Dolphins' edge rusher room. And what about adding the likes of Haason Reddick? What would that look like as far as the production? It certainly would be a huge boost to that part of the Dolphins' defense, and this is the Dolphins defense that was 3rd in sacks in the NFL in 2023 in the regular season, had one of the best pressure rates as well. And again, Bradley Chubb, Jaelan Phillips, and Andrew Van Ginkel led the way in that component when healthy. And adding Haason Reddick, woo, that would be scary for the opposition. Those would be 4 of your upper echelon premier pass rushers all on the same team. So it sounds great in theory. Let me know what you think. Should the Dolphins trade for Haason Reddick? Type Y for yes or N for no. And obviously there's a lot of layers to this that we will break down. But overall, what do you think of the idea? Should Chris Grier and the front office pursue trading for Haason Reddick? And anytime you talk about bringing in a big name, one of the first components of the decision is if it can work with the cap space. And stop me if you've heard this one before. I know you have, but worth reiterating. The Dolphins are expected to be around $40 million over the cap when the new league year starts in March. So Chris Grier and company has their work cut out for them to be able to restructure some deals and find a way for the Dolphins to be under the salary cap while still making offseason moves to beef up this roster and go from a playoff appearing team to a team that actually makes some noise in the postseason. So when you consider that number between 40 and 50 in the hole already, a guy like Haason Reddick that's set to make over $15 million, it might be tough to figure out how to pay Haason Reddick. Now, we've talked about lots of different ways that the Dolphins can improve that cap situation on Dolphins Today. So check out some of those videos if you haven't already. I've been vocal about cutting Emmanuel Ogbah, one of the highest paid players on the Dolphins, the highest base salary player on the Dolphins. You cut him. I'm in favor of cutting Xavier Howard, and the list goes on for ways to improve that cap situation for the Miami Dolphins, so you can be afforded at least the opportunity, at least the conversation to bring in a guy like Haason Reddick. And we will discuss what exactly that looks like and how Haason Reddick could be sporting the aqua and orange come 2024 at the start of the season. But first, I want to give a huge shout out to today's presenting sponsor, the only ticketing app you'll ever need because it's the best. Game Time. It is game time when you download the Game Time app and use the promo code FINSCHAT, PHINSCHAT, and new users will get $20 off their first purchase. And here's how it works, folks. You're probably like me. You wait to the last minute a lot of times when you're formulating plans, but not to worry if those plans include going to a game, going to a concert, because Game Time's got your back. Well, with the best deals, up-to-the-minute ticketing, lowest prices guaranteed, and a super easy-to-use app as well. The Marlins season's coming up. We're in the midst of the Miami Heat season. Maybe you want to go see the Florida Panthers on the ice. There's lots of good options, and Game Time is the only ticketing app you'll need. Lowest price guaranteed, even at the last minute, which is especially nice for me. I'm a procrastinator. But find out for yourself. Download the Game Time app. Use promo code FINSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but when you download the Game Time app, you might be wondering, how do I get there? Don't worry, we're going to put the link right in the comments and description of today's video because we love you and we care about you. $20 off when you use that promo code FINSCHAT, and download the Game Time app today and take the stress out of buying tickets. All right. When you have a big name like Haason Reddick, who has expressed interest in moving on from his current team, obviously you gauge the interest, you gauge whether or not there's a deal to be had and what that looks like actually playing it out on paper and how Haason Reddick could be sporting the aqua and orange in 2024. Also important to understand the value of the player that you're bringing in. And Haason Reddick, give him credit, has stuffed the stat sheet, especially as a dominant pass rusher. But remember our friend Pro Football Focus, or our friends at Pro Football Focus, I should say. It's not the end-all, be-all by any means, but it's a great benchmark, a great tool to use. And Reddick was the 43rd ranked edge rusher out of 112, according to Pro Football Focus. And you would expect a guy that's put up these type of numbers, the 11 sacks, 13 tackles for loss in 17 games. He was at least consistent and available for the Eagles, but you might expect with those numbers they'd be a little bit higher up on the top edge players per Pro Football Focus. And again, they take into consideration quite a bit, but we've showed you this before. You got guys like Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa, Micah Parsons, Max Crosby, TJ Watt, etc. Those game-wrecking players off the edge, and go ahead and add Khalil Mack, Aiden Hutchinson, Andrew Van Ginkel, you recognize that name, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Alex Highsmith to round out the top 10. And you don't see Reddick's name in that list of top edge players, according to Pro Football Focus, until 43rd. Jaelan Phillips ahead of him, Bradley Chubb ahead of him, and of course, Andrew Van Ginkel was one of the best edge rushers, according to Pro Football Focus, in 2023. So let's compare them head-to-head, Reddick and Ginkel, that is. 38 tackles for Reddick, 69 for Andrew Van Ginkel. But obviously the sack number for Haason Reddick, significantly more with 11 compared to Van Ginkel's 6. Now, Van Ginkel was asked to do a lot of different things in Vic Fangio's defense. That will, of course, change his role, that is, under new defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver. And don't forget about that interception Andrew Van Ginkel had that he took back to the house. So they're not the exact type of player, but you understand the conversation to be had here when you consider the fact that Andrew Van Ginkel is a pending free agent. Obviously, he's going to require quite the investment financially based on his performance, based on his production over the last couple of years. So let me know, just for conversation, who you'd take, Andrew Van Ginkel or Haason Reddick, if you had to have one or the other. If you want AVG, type AVG in the comments. If Haason Reddick, the new shiny toy, is appealing to you, let me know. Type HR down in the comments. And I'll tell you this might be an unpopular opinion, but give me Andrew Van Ginkel. I loved what AVG put forth in 2023. Now, again, this conversation sounds a little bit different given a new defensive coordinator in Miami, but AVG really thrived under Vic Fangio's system because he was so versatile. You could blitz him off the edge as an edge rusher, but he really could play that outside linebacker, came up in run support really well, showed his versatility. So I'm a huge AVG fan, and I've been pretty vocal all offseason about finding a way to bring Andrew Van Ginkel back to Miami and sign him because he is a free agent. And I don't think I've really I've been able to change my opinion on Andrew Van Ginkel because I really like what he brings for this Miami Dolphins defense. Now, NBC reports that Haason Reddick, the haul for Haason Reddick, will be rather large. Eagles will only trade with the team if compensation and cap considerations work out. So again, there's two parts to the equation here. And if you're a team like Miami, you're going to have to give up quite a bit in order to land Haason Reddick via the trade wire. So try this one on for size. Let me know what you think. We cooked this up in the trade machine earlier this morning, but the Eagles will receive a 2024 first-round pick from the Dolphins. That's 21st overall right now in exchange for Haason Reddick and a 2024 fifth-round pick. So remember, the Dolphins have a little bit more draft capital this year than they have in the past. So hypothetically speaking, you try this one on for size. Are you willing to give up a first-round pick? Because I believe that's what it's going to take for Haason Reddick. Grade the trade idea in the comments. Are you willing to give up that first-round pick? Let me know down in the comments. Grade the trade idea A, B, C, D, or F, and let me know what you think. And it's good to remind everybody what the Miami Dolphins have as far as draft picks in 2024. Because remember, this is the first year in 3 years they've had a first-round pick. They've got one in the second round. And not having picks in the third and fourth is huge. So if you're going to give up your first-round pick for Reddick, that means you would only have one pick in the first 4 rounds. Obviously, that can change with some trades. But you do have the 2 picks in the 6th round and a pick in the 5th and the 7th. But by that trade, you get up the 5th-round pick as well. So a lot to give up, but obviously the production, the statistical impact on the game that Haason Reddick has means there's a conversation there to be had, and the Dolphins would benefit from bringing his services to Miami, but at what cost? That's the question you start to ask yourself, and we do know Chris Grier has been known to make those big trades. Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, the list goes on. He is a big swinger in that front office and is been known to try to go for the home run trade. So this might be another example where he flexes and that Dolphins front office says, we're trying to win now. We're trying to end the longest postseason winless streak. Let's make it happen. Let's bring Haason Reddick to Miami. But I'll remain steadfast on this point. It's a lot to give up, and I'd rather be in favor of building this team through the draft. I think you sign Andrew Van Ginkel. That's a 3. I know Chubb and Jaelan Phillips both might not be ready at the beginning of the season, but you'll have them at some point in 2024, so it's a lot to give up in the draft capital for Haason Reddick. I like where the Aqua and Orange is right now without pursuing Haason Reddick. But I promise you this, if there's a trade made, or any news for that matter, when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, we've got you covered. That's why you want to subscribe. Don't miss a thing when we've got daily Dolphins content for you, live shows every single week, and as always, covering the Aqua and Orange from every single angle throughout the course of this NFL offseason, through free agency, through trade rumors, and of course the NFL draft. We've got you covered from all aspects. Now, I want to give a huge shout out to Jack Lauderay producing today's video. Couldn't do it without him. And as always, thanks so much for tuning in to Dolphins Today, and we'll see you next time on Dolphins Today.